Thank you for waiting. Now, we will start our last session, the closing session. We'd like to invite all speakers representing each of today's sessions, as well as the UN Habitat and Special Advisor Whiteboard Center for this session. I'd like to introduce the speakers. Dr. Sonobe Tetsushi, Dean, CEO, Asian Development Bank Institute. Mr. Victor Millas, Senior Urban Specialist and TDLC Team Lead, World Bank. Mr. Nagumo Takehiko, Executive Director, Smart City Institute Japan, SCI Japan. Dr. Suzuki Nobuharu, Professor, Yokohama City University. Mr. Kurisawa Atsushi, Regional Representative for Asia and the Pacific, United Nations Human Settlement Program, UN Habitat. Dr. Bindu Lohani, Special Advisor, Whiteboard Center. The moderator is Mr. Hashimoto Toru, Director General, International Affairs Bureau, City of Yokohama. Mr. Hashimoto, please start the session.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the last and closing session of the 10th Anniversary Asia Smart City Conference. First of all, I'd like to thank all the participants and also the participants to the conference to make this conference very productive and also make it happen like the very good international conference. As this is a 10th anniversary Asia Smart City Conference, I just like to take a little time to look back the past 10 years. The video is being broadcasted now. Okay. Well, I cannot see the video itself, so that I don't know whether my voice is synchronized with the video itself. But let me say that when we started this conference, it was a very small one as a part of the big Smart City Week. It was a big conference organized by the third party, namely Nikkei BP. So initially, this conference was basically among the cities and the local governments only, talking about city planning, visions, how to make the city affluent and livable, and also the green economy itself. Well, that time, the smart city means in Japan as a smart energy and energy saving. So while we run the first few Smart City Conference, I consulted actually Bindu, who is a speaker of this year again, that shall we continue the Smart City? Because the Smart City at that time was very narrowly defined in Japan. And he mentioned, Toru, just continue, because Smart City will come big. Don't stop. So that we continue, and as it's shown, the 6th Smart City Conference becoming a 40 participants, 30 participants, growing. And also that we shifted that our collaboration and discussion among the cities and more with the private sectors, and also the universities, students also come on board. And the 8th Asia Smart City Conference, we have 56 participants, the big one, and also that we collaborated with World Economic Forum, which is located in Davos Conference, and we started the launch of the Global Smart City Alliance, and also that we had the ASEAN Smart City Network event. Unfortunately, or maybe a little bit fortunate, that last 2 years we have this online, which means we were able to attract or have all the participants, not necessarily physically present in Yokohama, but like this year that we have the participants from abroad, as Bindu coming from, I believe, from Kathmandu this year. Yeah, is this correct? All right, great. So that looking back the last 10 years, that we had several events as well in relation to the Asia Smart City Conference. For example, that we had the 50th anniversary ADB meeting took place in Yokohama. And also that the World Bank initiated a new initiative called the City Partnership Program, which is a strong supporter for this conference to make the Japanese city contribute more towards the livabilities, productivities, competitiveness, and also the inclusiveness for other Asian and world global cities. And also, before this conference, the Yokohama City University started International Academic Consortium, which still continues. And then that we have more knowledge product from this consortium. And also the Smart City Institute as the new platform among the public sector, private sector, industry, academic, knowledge people is also established a few years back. And we, the city of Yokohama, started the Whiteboard Center, which we currently physically located. And then we utilize a DX, a virtual reality, some other form of digital networking to connect to the world. So that's where we are now. Looking back the topic itself, that the topic itself also very much diversified and become complex. For example, we all feel like the effective effect of climate change as that more and severe flooding, typhoon coming to Japan. And also we heard a lot of news elsewhere that climate change is becoming the reality. And some says, and I also personally believe that pandemic itself may be closely related to climate change itself. So we have to aim very, very seriously about our target of the carbon reduction, carbon neutrality. And next week, or starting from this week, the COP will take place in Glasgow, and our declaration, which is going to be read out after my speech, will be also delivered to this COP. So thank you again, all the participants, and I hope that some of you enjoyed virtual reality exhibition as well. So that I'd like to move on to the Yokohama Declaration, which summarized all the session, which was organized by ADB, Asian Development Bank Institute, World Bank Tokyo Development Learning Center, Smart City Institute Japan, Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, Yokohama City University, CityNet, and the City of Yokohama itself. So this declaration is a summary of our discussion, and we summarize our conference discussion into 5 points. So please.
Declaration: Trends toward Sustainable Cities. 1. We reaffirmed our commitment to international goals, including the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, the new urban agenda adopted at the Third United Nations Conference on Housing and Sustainable Urban Development, Habitat 3, and the Paris Agreement adopted at the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP21. Many cities have begun to adopt carbon neutrality as a basic policy for urban management. However, since long carbon initiatives do not show progress overnight, mid and short-term goals need to be set, and specific initiatives implemented by applying the backcasting approach to long-term goals and flexibly reviewing these against changes in the microenvironment. Zero Carbon Yokohama, an action plan for global warming developed by the City of Yokohama, has also been formulated and revised based on this concept. Similarly, more Asian countries are setting long-term goals for low carbon emissions and engaging in specific initiatives and city-to-city collaboration to achieve these goals. Furthermore, with the growing interest in SDGs, over 100 local governments around the world have published their VAR, a voluntary local review of progress on the Sustainable Development Goals. And the Japanese government has also expressed its positive support. VAR is expected to serve as a framework for encouraging the participation of regional stakeholders and regional innovation, and help cities become more sustainable. Urban issues and the direction of actions. 2. Higher densities in cities have created a social environment that has led to higher productivity and higher income for urban residents. But at the same time, these have led to new urban issues that hamper sustainable development. The spread of COVID-19 has also further highlighted issues such as insufficient physical infrastructure, unequal access to core services, deficiency in the infrastructure system, and overpopulation. Under such circumstances, the participants share the need to prioritize initiatives for creating sustainable cities that also contribute to the achievement of the SDGs and goals of the Paris Agreement and which are considered appropriate from the point of macro-environmental changes and cost effectiveness. In addition, we confirmed that cities should aim for a good balance between achievement of the low-carbon society and economic development, and that measures for low carbon can be an opportunity to enrich our lives, such as through green investment and by creating innovation and jobs. Potential of the evolution of solutions for cities. 3. With the global spread of awareness of the importance of smart cities, the advancement of digital technology, there are increasing opportunities for the acquisition, linkage, and visualization of data in cities, as well as for cities and the private sector to leverage these open data and big data. This wider use of data should lead more effective measures against COVID-19 in the short term, and environmental rate reduction, improved health life expectancy, enhanced education, improved corporate productivity, and the creation of higher quality services in the medium to long term. It was also recognized that in order for cities to address urgent urban development issues, we do not necessarily have to adopt cutting-edge technologies, but that smart solutions with a strong impact at low cost, which have been evolving in recent years, were also significant. Furthermore, there were positive discussions not only on these technological advances, but also on the possibility of the proposal made on a new business model for the overseas development of cities as a total package which includes lifestyle and other intangible aspects, such as city management as a services, CMAS, which may contribute to urban development in Asia and other emerging countries. Participation of new players in urban development. 4. In addition to public organizations and large companies that have long played an important role in building sustainable cities, the importance of having more participation by new players, such as startup companies and universities, was recognized at the conference. In the era of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, BUCA, startups are emerging one after another that propose new technologies and solutions worldwide, and their presence is growing in areas of smart cities and sustainability. In future, collaboration with startups will become indispensable in all aspects of urban development. In addition, from the perspective of fostering future leaders and generating new ideas, it is noteworthy that exchanges between universities are advancing in Asian countries. How the advanced research and new ideas from universities can be incorporated into actual urban development will also become more important for enhancing the attractiveness of cities. Evolution of the city-to-city collaboration. 5. In addition to intergovernmental cooperation and technical cooperation between individual companies, advanced discussions were also held on the potential of new city-to-city collaboration, not limited to Asia. The economic development of Asian countries in recent years have been remarkable, and we see many cases in which leading local private companies in the countries take the lead in urban development on behalf of local administrative agencies. Therefore, city-to-city collaboration in the future development of smart cities needs to ensure that the private and public sector in the cities cooperate more closely in promoting the projects. Furthermore, considering the ongoing efforts around the world towards smart cities, Japan will need to cooperate not only with Asian cities, but also with other cities in Europe and elsewhere in future. This is an era in which cities work together beyond regional boundaries, aiming for further advancement by leveraging their mutual strength in areas such as decarbonization, circular economy, next-generation mobility, and citizens' well-being. The Asia Smart City Alliance, ASCA, which was established based on a proposal at the Asia Smart City Conference, is able to play a key role in city-to-city collaboration as a platform for promoting cooperation in information sharing.
Thank you, Hassan. So this is our summary of our conference. So now I'd like to invite six distinguished experts to provide us some insights for a future smart city development. First, I'd like to invite Professor Dr. Sonobe, who is the Dean of ADBI, that we have collaborated with the ADB Institute in regards of human resource development and also that some knowledge products. So, Dr. Sonobe, how do you think that how the future city development under this very complex era should take place, and also that how do you think the importance of the city-to-city collaboration in this context?
Thank you, Hashimoto-san, for excellent questions. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of ADB and the ADB Institute, I'd like to offer to you all my congratulations of the success of this conference, marking its 10th anniversary and ending with a nice summary, Yokohama Declaration. I'm also very pleased that ADB Institute is part of this conference as one of the co-organizers. Thank you, City of Yokohama, for your great performance as lead organizer, and thank you also to the World Bank Tokyo Development Learning Center for working together with us. Now I'd like to respond to Hashimoto-san's question. Ladies and gentlemen, amid a rising trend of severe climate change impacts and amid a worsening trend of inequality in many societies under the pandemic, cities in Asia must develop forward-looking strategies and policy frameworks for urban development. And urban development must be more inclusive, climate and disaster resilient, and environmentally sustainable than ever. The current situation is difficult because of the disruptions that the pandemic brought about. During this difficult time, however, we have learned that we can leverage some recent technologies to open up new prospects for the future. Indeed, an increasing number of cities in Asia start to adopt the goals toward low carbon society and start seeking solutions to achieve the goals. So these cities are absorbing the new knowledge and the relevant theories, but the city officers are not yet equipped with sufficient capacity or capability to put the theory into practice. Against this background, the Asia Smart City Conference has put together very timely and important agendas and discussed urban development in the context of environment protection and sustainable development in its many sessions. And these sessions were informative and insightful, providing concrete suggestions on how to operationalize smart city solutions. And they also facilitate productive discussions among government officials, scholars, business persons, and other stakeholders. The knowledge and the good practices shared during the conference will be handy reference for the participants and will be applied to policy planning, implementation, and evaluation. This conference has also provided a platform to universities and startup companies in the region, who are expected to play critically important roles in creating and proposing smart city solutions. Yet another contribution of this conference is to promote city-to-city collaboration for the development of green and smart city communities. Learning from other cities must be critically important. Actually, we have observed those countries learning from other countries about good responses to the pandemic tended to perform better than other countries. So likewise, we need city-to-city collaboration, cooperation, and dialogue and coordination to advance the smart city communities and society. To promote city-to-city coordination and cooperation, ADBI would like to commend the establishment of Asia Smart City Alliance, which has been mentioned in the Yokohama Declaration. And I'd like to congratulate many cities in Asia that have started to develop their green and smart city solutions. I trust that these policy initiatives will strengthen their resilience and contribute greatly to the global sustainability. I also trust that many other cities will start following these pioneering counterparts. ADBI is proud to be a traveling companion on their journey and would like to continue its involvement in Asia Smart City Conference, supporting capacity building and knowledge sharing in the region. Thank you very much.
Sonobe-sensei, thank you very much. We look forward to the collaboration more. Next, I'd like to invite Victor Muras, Mr. Victor Muras, sorry. I always call you Victor, so Senior Urban Specialist from the World Bank. And I'd like to thank Victor to lead your program from Tokyo Development Learning Center, the City Partnership Program. So, Victor, I think our agenda is right now more on the carbon neutrality and how to advance the SDGs as a comprehensive solution. So how the city would promote these actions, and what is the role of the cities in this context?
Well, thank you very much, Toru, and let me start by congratulating you and Yokohama for this being the 10th anniversary of the Asian Smart City Conference. It sounds like a small word, 10th, but it's a lot of work, and it has a lot of participants and a lot of growth that has happened since. So big congratulations on that. And I want to start on that, on the reflection of what has happened during these last 10 years, because as you was mentioning, when we were talking about the smart cities 10 years ago, it's very different than now. The concept of smart cities then was thought to be very top-down. It was basically just technologies driven from the top. And the concept of smart cities today has evolved, has changed. Now it's more bottom-up, it's more citizen-centric driven, but it's also more focused on sustainability, green cities, and climate change, right? How do we do and we create our cities more livable, more sustainable, and we do it together with the citizens. At the same time, during these 10 years, we have been seeing a spread and evolution of technologies that have become much more sophisticated and affordable. We've been seeing a proliferation of network devices, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, drones, and data tools spreading around the world because they become really affordable and easy to use. And that has helped a lot the proliferation of very sophisticated smart city solutions in developing countries, but more importantly too, in secondary cities of these developing countries and both developed countries. The gap between the cities were starting to narrow, and we saw some of the cities leapfrogging and helping the urban development. However, all that development and those achievements have been threatened by the pandemic. The pandemic is really threatening to undo many of that and spread the gap of between cities and with developing countries. And as we are now in thinking about reopening cities, as we see the window opening to go back out of the pandemic, we're standing at a crossroads. And we believe that cities will need to find a stronger coordination now among government institutions, among industries, academia, and civil societies, if we want to turn our cities back again to the right development path of a more greener, healthier, resilient, and inclusive future for urban development. The policy responses that we need to use to address the structural vulnerabilities that have been revealed by the pandemic will need to be more forward-looking. Decisions taken today will shape the future. And we will need to save the future if we think about a future that is low carbon future, that is more climate sustainable and can mitigate the impact of climate change. The World Bank is calling this approach the Green, Resilient and Inclusive Development Approach, or GRID for short. And we believe it's a good tool to address the immense global challenges that have been posed by the pandemic and the climate change. By focusing on long-term policy choices on green, resilient, and inclusive development, we believe that cities can lead the way in creating a path to recovery that ensures broad-based economic growth and lasting prosperity. I want to stress how important it is bridging the information gaps and to leverage the power behind knowledge sharing and knowledge sharing events like this conference. Yokohama and the Tokyo Development Learning Center from the World Bank have been collaborating together since 2016 in the City Partnership Program. And we have been working together in identifying and documenting good urban practices, but more importantly, co-creating new urban solutions. I believe that knowledge exchange that the Asian Smart City Conference have served to advance the smart city agenda over the last decade, and I hope it will continue doing so. And I really want to thank Yokohama for doing that. So let me just finish by thanking all the speakers and organizers of this conference for their commitment and dedication and support to make this event possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victor. I think important word was a knowledge gap. Yes, I learned a lot from this year's conference by listening to the sessions, so that we have to fill all this gap. So in this connection, I'd like to invite next expert, Mr. Nagumo-san, who is the Executive Managing Director of Smart City Institute, Japan. And I believe this platform is a very unique platform involving the city local government officials, industry leaders, technical providers, and also the citizens' perspective. And I also love, always Nagumo-san says, we have to put more human face on the smart city, which can be dominated by technology. So Nagumo-san, how we should lead this smart city movement? Maybe more keyword like well-being coming up, or how do you see the future?
Thank you, Hashimoto-san. And first of all, let me congratulate City of Yokohama and all the leaders concerning this event for successfully carrying out 10th anniversary, 10 years of Asia Smart City Conference. I feel very privileged to be part of this community. And I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude and respect to the leaders of Yokohama City for bringing all together for a decade and increasing on a global scale. And thank you for the question. And I see two important concepts emerging in the context of the smart city. One is the well-being as a goal of implementing smart city, technology-driven smart cities. For the past years, people were fascinated with the idea of the futuristic vision of the cities driven by technology. But after years of implementing the technologies, we arrive at the concept that the goal is well-being of citizens, not the technology per se. So I talked to various the counterparties in Europe, Asia, US, and so forth, and everyone resonates that well-being concept is now at the center of the human society. So technology is a means to the end, and we have to be clear that the well-being is always the goal of the implementing smart cities. And to do that, just like Victor mentioned, we have to get people involved. So civic engagement is so important. It's not going to be driven only by the corporations. It's the consortium of people, public, private, academia, and other not-for-profit organizations. So the balanced approach to technology to achieve well-being is the key concept we have to agree upon to carry out smart city ideas. And that serves as the basis of the collaboration amongst the cities. If you talk about the technologies implemented in various cities in the world, it's almost to say everyone is trying to implement similar technologies. So, everyone is testing technologies elsewhere. And now it's time to collaborate, not to compete with the technologies. the result of the testing of the technology should be shared amongst the cities. Thereby, everyone will be benefited. So the world is shifting from competition to collaboration. That's the vision I would like to extend from the city of Yokohama to the rest of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nagamo-san. Maybe the next year's theme, if we have Asia Smart Cities Conference, is set for the smart city to achieve the well-being of the citizens, maybe. That's a good theme already. Yes. Next, I'd like to invite Professor Nobuharu Suzuki Sensei from the Yokohama City University. Actually, Suzuki Sensei is our leader for the urban design and urban program from the city of Yokohama City University and the city of Yokohama itself. Suzuki Sensei, I think the importance of academia is being highlighted more and more in this conference. And also that we appreciate you bring the students into this conference to freely discuss and make a proposal, which sometimes better than our own proposals. So, Suzuki Sensei, how do you see that the university or your consortium can fill this important keyword of the knowledge gap or create more collaboration among the municipalities, cities, and academias and citizens? So would you kindly provide us some guidance?
Okay, thank you, Hashimoto-san. It's a great honor for me to have the opportunity to speak at the closing session. On behalf of Yokohama City University, I'd like to thank the city of Yokohama and all the those involved in the Asia Smart City International Conference. I would also like to express my great respect to the city of Yokohama for hosting this conference for the past 10 years for promoting intercity exchange. And I have participated in the conference and related events several times. And it's a great honor for me to be a part of it. And now I'd like to respond to the Hashimoto-san's question. And I guess the Yokohama Declaration has a very important implication for the development of sustainable cities in Asia in the future. And I believe that it will be a compass for Yokohama City University in education, research, social contribution, and international exchange. Particularly in item 4, the Yokohama Declaration, participation of new players in urban development, expectations for universities and university network in sustainable urban development were included. I guess university and university network can play a certain role in knowledge creation, sharing, and management for sustainable cities and smart cities. In the age of VUCA, it is extremely important to develop new human resource who can solve never experienced problems. And our university is making a concerted effort to incorporate cities into education. In addition, Yokohama City University launched the International Academic Consortium for Sustainable Cities in 2010 to promote inter-university exchange in Asia, focusing on the field of environment, urban planning, and public health. I guess we can cover the areas of smart city issues. This network is not only an academic network of university, but was formed with the intention of connecting with various organizations such as City of Yokohama and local governments overseas, CityNet, and so on. Let me introduce one of the examples of its activities. City of Yokohama and Yokohama City University jointly implemented the Intercity Technical Cooperation Project with Seberang City in Malaysia, funded by JICA as a grassroots technical cooperation project. So this project is a human resource development project through the planning of urban design plan for the old downtown area of Bukit Matajan, the heart of the Seberang City. I guess we can contribute not only the knowledge sharing, but also we can contribute to the practical project with the local municipality. Regarding the education, Yokohama City University is also focusing on human resource development program that utilize the university network. For the past 10 years, many students from Japan and other Asian countries have been exchanging and learning about sustainable urban development through the International Student Workshop. We would like to contribute to the development of human resource development in Asia in the future by utilizing the achievement of these activities. And especially, we will make the use of the achievement of ASCC Yokohama Conference this year to strengthen the international joint research and the joint activities with ASCC member universities. In addition, for us, the cooperation and involvement in the international efforts of the city of Yokohama will continue to be essential and must be strengthened. In closing, I'd like to express my gratitude again to everyone involved in the Asia Smart City International Conference. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Suzuki-sensei. Now I like to invite a remote expert, remote in a sense that who is participating to this conference through the video link. First, I'd like to invite Mr. Kurisawa, who is a regional representative for Asia and the Pacific, United Nations Human Settlements Program. We always look at the World Urban Forum, Habitat, Asia Pacific Urban Forum as our main conference to provide our conclusion and input. So from that angle, Kurisawa-san, how the United Nations sees our city-to-city collaboration, city future, and what should be our direction to collaborate more among us? Thank you.
Thank you, Hashimoto-san, and honorable mayors and city leaders, distinguished participants, colleagues, and friends. On behalf of United Nations Human Settlement Program, or UN Habitat, which is a UN agency for cities and sustainable urbanization, also a custodian of urban SDGs and New Urban Agenda, I'd like to reconfirm our respect for your commitment, achievement, and leadership. Special thanks go to Mayor Yamanaka and his team of Yokohama City. Also, big congratulations for a successful conference. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now facing unprecedented challenges. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is addressing his the high-level session of the General Assembly. In September, he stated, "Our world has never been more threatened or more divided. We face the greatest cascade of crises in our lifetimes. Climate resilience is, of course, the greatest challenge of our time that needs to be addressed at all levels, and cities are now becoming a central focus as we approach the COP26 in Glasgow." Also, next Sunday, 31st October, is the UN designated World Cities Day with the theme Adapting Cities for Climate Resilience. So government of Egypt and United Nations UN Habitat are going to host the global observance in historic city of Luxor. I'm sure many of you have, or your colleagues must have already, part of these activities. So Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, have been further delayed in progress by the pandemic, yet remain robust. And now is the time for cities to renew their commitments and boost actions for prosperity, equality, and social and environmental sustainability. And the key is localization of SDGs, that is implementing SDGs throughout all levels. That's why UN Habitat has been promoting localization of SDGs in collaboration with UCLGs and other partners, assisting government and cities to implement the voluntary local review and subnational review of SDGs. The number of cities implementing VLR keeps growing and the momentum gathering around the world. Please join this movement and we stand ready to assist. Moreover, we are working with government and cities on the ground for them to achieve the urban SDGs and implement the new urban agenda through various initiatives. My office joined hands with Fukuoka City to organize Asia Pacific City Summit online session for last 2 days, 26th and 27th, to which many city mayors, international organizations, private sector, and academia contributed a lot. We will organize the city summit next year again, hopefully inviting cities to Fukuoka. We are also implementing various programs and projects across the region, including the ASEAN Sustainable Urbanization Strategy implementation project, SDG cities and smart city programs, city and climate change initiatives, city investment facility, just to mention a few. To complement, we are organizing SDG Cities Global Conference hosted by City of Shanghai from tomorrow to Sunday. So with reference to COVID-19, UN Habitat has produced various reports and technical guidelines, including the flagship report titled Cities and Pandemic Towards a More Just, Green and Healthy Future. So UN Habitat is working with WHO and other partners to support further, governments and cities. Moving forward, UN Habitat is going to draft the UN Secretary General's report on progress on the implementation of new urban agenda to be submitted to the 76th General Assembly next year. Furthermore, UN Habitat is organizing, as Hashimoto-san mentioned, 11th World Urban Forum with the theme Transforming Our Cities for a Better Urban Future in Katowice, Poland, in June 2022, next year. So registration is now open. So I really like to encourage you to visit the website and come to Katowice. And that would be a great opportunity and chance for Yokohama City to share the result of this conference, Smart City Conference. Throughout all these processes, UN Habitat would like to continue and strengthen collaboration with Yokohama City and all partners on this call. So I stop there and hand over to the moderator, Hashimoto-san. Thank you one more time for your collaboration. Thank you.
Kurisawa-san, thank you very much to appear after that important session in Fukuoka. And with our very short notice, still that, with that very encouraging statement. So in the near future, I hope we like to see each other either in Fukuoka, Yokohama, or Poland. Thank you. So I'd like to continue have this interactive kind of forum, but time is limited. So I'd like to invite the last expert, Dr. Bindu Rohani, who is serving us as a Whiteboard Center senior advisor, but formally he's a top executive of the ADBs, and then he's a leader of the environmental and the city development field. We asked Bindu to take a look at this conference from the beginning for the past 10 years. So I think, Bindu, you have a lot to say and offer to us, but you have only 5 minutes. I'm sorry for that. But you are the last one and wrapping up this session.
Thank you very much, Toru Hashimoto. Yes, I've been looking at this for the last 10 years, 10 years of success. Congratulations. I'd like to mention 3 points in the context of city-to-city collaboration. First, I think the ASCC and CCC, or let me say city-to-city collaboration as CCC, should focus on sustainable city development now. And sustainable development in today's context means looking at least 4 global agreements: the SDG 2030, the urban habitat, which was mentioned just before by my earlier colleague, the Paris Agreement on climate change. And I also think the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction is very, very important, because risks reduction disasters are very, very important in many developing countries. Today's city vision and plan should also commit to SDG 2030 and the carbon neutrality on net emission by 2050. So if I had an urban plan, if I had not updated, I think this is time to update the urban plan with a timeline for 2030. And another one, which I consider the medium term, and the longer term, which is for the 2050. I think that's an appropriate city-to-city collaboration role. Many cities have already committed carbon neutrality. For example, the Zero Carbon Yokohama, it is a leader. It should encourage other cities to do that too, or help those other cities. I think this is a positive trend. And by my earlier speaker, Mr. Kurisawa mentioned, I also like that many local governments are committing to VLRs on SDG and net zero agenda. So the ASCE could really promote those activities. My second point is CCC, mean the city-to-city collaboration, should include addressing new and emerging and challenging issues. And let me mention about three. One, the COVID-related issues. We all know, the urban norms are different. The city infrastructures need to be looked into different. Access issues came in. Digitization issue came in. Urban density, compact city used to be the norm before. It's no longer compact city because of the COVID. So all of these will have to be looked into. The second issue to me is the data management and treating city as a laboratory. Data is the new money. Leveraging the data for better quality city management and city service is essential. I think this should be enhanced. And treating the city as a laboratory for urban solutions, and continue to study, conduct R&D for better service improvement, innovation, and efficiency will need to be handled as we move forward. I think cities should cope. The third, in my opinion, is the technology, which was mentioned again before. We need to collaborate on technologies, was mentioned again before, I'm repeating it. But we need a strategy. We need to help. How to do this is, in my view, we should have a policy on adopt. If something is so good, easily can be taken, shamelessly take it, do it. Like if Yokohama has some good technology, take it. If it works with you. If it doesn't, if you need to adapt a little bit, adapt it. And if you need to leapfrog it. So by using this kind of collaborative thinking from city to city, I think the cities could benefit. And finally, what could the future prospect for city to city management, collaboration and management? City to city collaboration has been evolving well. I must say it's evolving well. I think ASCE, WIPOT has done a good job in the last 10 years. But you probably have a lot more to do in the next 10 years too. I think that city-to-city collaboration is currently more focused on Asian cities, okay. But we also need to start looking beyond the Asian cities to bring those global best practices and the global knowledge so that we can all benefit. Looking at the future, there's a need as well as an opportunity for more collaboration for mutual benefit. At this stage, I think we have a very modest level of collaboration, but we have potential to do more. I also believe that city-to-city collaboration, although it has engaged quite a few stakeholders, public, private, we need to expand that beyond to bring in the academia, think tanks, financial institutions, bilaterals, etc. Because at the end of the day, we need all of these to make a comprehensive program for the city. I think the time framework for such collaboration, city-to-city collaboration, should be ideally until 2030, a 10-year medium plan, and a 30 years long-term plan for 2050. The need for investment in the city is huge. The developing Asian cities need more resources, funding, cutting-edge global knowledge and capacity in transforming the current cities into the future. And this is a role where I think the WIPOT and the ASCC could think. Now, in this regard, let me mention one of my experience when I was the Asian Development Bank. We had a program called Finance Plus Plus. We had the money, but the country said, we need more than your money. The first plus was leverage your money to bring in more resources, more cheaper money. And secondly, the second plus was bring in knowledge, the best global knowledge. I think why POT and ASCC could turn around and say, our strategy could be the knowledge plus plus. We have the knowledge, we will have the knowledge, we will gather the knowledge, we'll leverage that with the stakeholders, and we will also bring in the finance to have several investment projects in the countries. Finally, it goes without saying that most of these people will live in cities. In Asia, 70-80% of the GDP will be made in the cities. 60 to 70% of the people will live in cities by 2050. Most resources will be used in the cities. The greenhouse gas will be mostly in the cities. Most of our Asian cities are vulnerable. So no matter how we look at it, cities will continue to remain as a major focus, and therefore the dialogue on sustainable city should continue. In this regard, in the past 10 years, I think Toru, you people have done a great job. The ASCE has provided a useful forum, and I think it should continue, and it will continue to do even more in the next decades. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bindu. Thank you very much. So I really love to continue the dialogue. If this is a real one, I think, Bindu, I can talk to you after this session, but with this digital, unfortunately, I cannot do that with Kurisawa-san and Bindu. Our mayor has arrived to the venue, so that I'd like to close this session and move into the last event, which is closing remarks to be provided by our mayor, Yamanaka. Thank you very much for all the participation and then very good insight. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Finally, at the closing of the conference, closing remarks will be presented by Dr. Yamanaka Takaharu, Mayor, City of Yokohama. Mayor Yamanaka, please.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Takaharu Yamanaka, the mayor of the city of Yokohama. First of all, I'd like to express my deep gratitude to everyone who has joined us from around the world. And a special thanks to all speakers as well as those who worked hard to prepare this conference. This year's Asia Smart City Conference reaches a major milestone with its 10th anniversary, and thanks to everyone's support, we are able to deliver significant success. We explored carbon neutrality, circular economy, innovation, SDGs, VLRs, measures on pandemic and green recovery, and accumulation and dissemination of knowledge, making use of a digital network. Over 3 days, experts from various fields shared valuable insights, and we enjoyed a fruitful discussion. Now, I'm confident that the Yokohama Declaration, the product of this conference, will be a stepping stone to realize a more enriching urban life and green growth that we are eager to achieve. It's been 10 years since the Asia Smart City Conference was first held, and the world is now experiencing dynamic change. COVID-19 has changed the way we live and do business. Contemporary cities like Yokohama must respond to this ever-changing environment, flexibly reconstructing to overcome new social issues. So cross-cooperation with people around the world will drive further sustainable development of cities in Asia. As a leader of the city of Yokohama, I renew my determination to work hard to that goal. Together, let's open the way to brighter future with our partnership based on this Asia Smart City Conference and its diverse alliance. Thank you again for your participation into this conference. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mayor Yamanaka. With these words, I'm pleased to announce the end of the 10th Asian Smart City Conference, building smart cities aiming for carbon neutrality through city-to-city collaboration under the influence of COVID-19. Thank you very much for joining the conference today.